Happy New Year from the MUFIC gang. Happy 2023. I'm Kevin Church along with Karen Egan, and today we have Danielle Howle as our MUFIC Songwriter of the Month for January.
Greetings, sir.
Good to see you.
Hello. How are you doing?
Good to have you here.
It's great to have you on. So, we like to introduce our folks, our guests, to the people that watch. We ask, do they come from a musical family? Like, where was their first musical influence? Where did it come from?
It probably did come from my parents because they were both marching band, and they remained, creative beings throughout their lives. They're always bringing interesting, weird stocking presents, like a tape from a classical musician, or just something that they were always throwing things out there. There was a lot of jazz being played in the household too when I was younger.
So what was your first instrument, or how did you get your start playing music?
My mom and my sister, my sister took piano, my mom read music, of course. They would sight read together. I tried to play the piano. I tried to learn. I didn't follow the rules, so I just played the piano and did my own thing. I didn't no longer got lessons, but that makes sense to me, and worked out.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So with your instrument, like how you weren't playing the rules. So how did you go about playing the instrument? What worked for you?
I just liked hearing the sounds that it made, and then eventually I would make patterns, and then they would turn into little pieces of things, and I would just remember what they were and say, oh, that's a song about a bird, and this is the song about trees, and just holding on to just little things like that. Mm-hmm. And that was pre-songwriting, but still, I was keeping a journal. That was the piano thing happened about 5th grade. Mm-hmm. And I've been keeping a journal from 3rd through 6th grade. And the journal was basically me writing stuff down about what I thought about the world, family life, poems, and just little drawings and observations.
So did those journal entries then lead to poems and things like that? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, they led to poems. And my world famous poem with me and my teacher was about my dog Snuffy. And he would, because I wondered what he would do when he would leave us. So it said, my dog Snuffy is walking down the street, not really knowing who he'd meet or what he'd meet. And they thought that was really cool. And that was the encouragement that we were talking about. How teachers and community members can encourage children to have some confidence to keep creating and viewing the world and finding their curiosity. Yeah.
So that really encouraged your creative expression at that time?
Oh, that was huge.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably the biggest thing ever, was the 3rd grade dog poem. That was probably the biggest moment, you know what I'm saying? 3rd grade dog poem.
Aha movie.
Yeah.
I love it. That's awesome.
That's great.
Yeah, and there was still no rules being attached, and there was no weirdness about it. It was just like, oh, look, you made something. And I was like, I did. Wait, because I didn't know that it was anything.
Right. Gotcha. You're just writing it down.
Yeah.
What if? Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
so cool. So since then, since your 3rd grade poem, and your musical ear has obviously developed even more since you were a child. So when did you get into songwriting? Like, how did that begin? And when did you take up guitar? Because you play guitar.
I do. I started kind of writing songs in 6th grade, and I would tape deck the sounds of guitar because I didn't play instruments at that time, really. And that was more. Yeah, I was like that. That was more of a 9th grade thing, the tape deck thing.
Okay.
I was still a little weird. And then I started kind of playing guitar. I got into my first band when I was 16, but I started, and I was writing songs, of course, at that point, because there's this thing called Governor School for the Arts, and
right.
It will make you happen. It will make you happen. And then after that, I think it was around 21, I started playing guitar a little bit, but then I knew I had a band member at that time. It was an unfortunate experience. It sucks to be defined. No, I'm not to be defined. That's the wrong language. Because this person had some problems and had committed suicide. I went inside my house and I quit college and I said I have to do this. And then that's when I sat there for 3 or 4 months just figuring it out. Forgot to tell y'all that.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So that experience pretty much catapulted you into being creative.
No, it catapulted
like
me.
Getting it out.
Yeah, getting it out. It catapulted me into self-reliance. I wasn't relying on other musicians to make my melodies or make the instruments play when I was singing.
Right.
I was like, I gotta bring it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I don't talk about it much.
That's big, Danielle.
I'm sorry.
It's real big. No, that's big because that's a big part of why you are who you are. Like that.
Yeah.
You write the way you write, the way you play, everything about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, wow, Karen, you got anything on that?
I'm sorry, but I'm not apologizing for anything
No,
that happened. It's just when trauma occurs, how we react to it or not react to it,
right,
or what it does for us. I don't know. I keep trying to make lemonade, and that was a long time ago.
Right.
And I don't even think that the past is the past and it happened. I can't live there. But our whole town was completely devastated for years. Like when friend groups changed, like everything was weird, We were all very young. But I'm just saying, no one gets, that old, was it Jim Morrison said, no one here gets out alive? Was it?
Right.
Just saying, it's a crazy world. And I don't know, it's going to keep on finding a way to express myself with gratitude and sometimes not with gratitude. Sometimes I'm just going to bring some fire. I'm going to spit some fire up on this bad boy, man. Right on. You know what I'm saying?
Right on.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with that.
No. I shouldn't have told it. Maybe I shouldn't have.
No. Sometimes
it's hard to know.
No, it's
if you should keep it in or tell it.
No, you told it, and it's perfect that you did.
Okay.
So after that experience, you took it, you ran with it. You've been strumming, you're pouring your heart out, doing your thing, learning your craft, and honing your craft and owning it because you're tired of the potential of not being able to do it.
Yeah, I got scared. I'm not a natural guitar player. I'm an interesting rhythm player, but I'm not natural. And it's, not knowing the notes and being self-taught was always like made me feel weird, but now I don't feel weird at all.
Right.
Like honestly, if I would ask y'all, can you show me that chord again? Or how would you like this to be voiced? I can say things like that. And the musicians that want to participate in that conversation, I'm going to hang around with, and they're going to hang around with me.
Right.
And then the rest, if they're like, then they're going to go play with someone else so they can say, minute 7, 3, 4, 5, 8, 7, 6 chord. They're going to find those people, and it's going to be all right.
Right. Exactly. There's an audience and a niche for everybody, right?
There is.
But okay, so.
Well, you had talked before about learning to deal with, I guess, constructive criticism, and that kind of reminded me of that when you're learning how to converse with other musicians and work with other musicians. I think that's a really interesting thing we all have to learn, and especially the criticism that you talked about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Learning to converse with other musicians, that's great. It's a thing, and not to feel like you are not good enough, just because you learned a certain way or that you don't know certain things.
Right.
Like if somebody told me a circle of fifths, I'd be like, but I do it every day. You know, I'm in it. I'm there.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And the criticism can be hard. I think a lot of musicians, it can traumatize them. It can make them maybe want to stay inside and not work with other people or write songs anymore. And man, I'm telling you, like early on, the criticism of anything, I was lucky enough to not take it too hard. And then sometimes a person would criticize me and I just get mad and I just go home and be like, God, you know, there was a lot of it can be fueled by anger, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But now I'm in a place where if it's constructive and it is for the greater good of the song I'm working on or a situation that I'm in, and it's my turn to get criticized, I'm like, yes. Sometimes you can take little pieces of that and keep it. And you're like, oh, I need to work on that. Or you can say, oh no, I'm not interested in that. Check it away. And then sometimes you can save the pieces for like, maybe I'll look at this later, you know, but right now that bothers me and I don't want to look at it. But so
Right.
we're still in control, even if someone's going, you played that C sharp really sharp, you know, or whatever it might be. Or, you know, I had some kids one time that were playing their violins, and there was a bunch of children around and adults, and one of the violinists stopped and she went, you're out of tune, in front of everybody. And I saw the other violinists like shrink down, like this is like 12-year-old times, you know, 12 is rough, you know, if you can make it through 12 and 13. So, that person didn't know what to do because one of the musicians couldn't hear real well because this out-of-tune crap around them and they're trying to play.
Mm-hmm.
So that might not have been the best way to handle that. There's probably some trauma caused to the other violinists, but I'm sure that, you know, they both learned how to, you know, like maybe go, hey, we got to tune up. Sorry, people, we're going to start that song again. But when you're 12, you don't know that. You don't even sometimes know that when you're 25 and have been in 3 bands already. You know, sometimes trauma happens, you know, and there's things that happen to us on stage that can mortify. It can just flat out mortify you to where you're like tossing in your bed going, why did that happen?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
God, we should one day just sit around a campfire and tell the performance stories of all of our lives and how we lived through it. It happens.
It does. I don't know about you guys, but I think it's funny, like when you're in mid-stride on stage and you screw up, you flop it, you're like, nobody caught that, and somebody's out there camera right on you.
Yes!
You're like, oh, got it.
Oh my God.
The one time the camera's out just to, you know,
Yes.
catch the moment that you're playing at the bar they happen to be at on that random time at that random hour.
And that's just all
you
in
know,
that camera.
You're like, and they're like, this is what happened when I was at Charleston. It's like, you know, there's that guy flopping up that song.
Yes.
Live reel, flop.
Yeah, totally. That is exactly. That happened to me recently. I was playing this like weird part. It breaks down. It's a really weird breakdown. It's like it's an audible illusion when you first hear it, and then but it's syncopated thing. And my friend Lad Lamford and his brother, we were in Charlotte, came walking in, and Lad was in my first band with me when I was 16, and I haven't seen him a lot. And he comes walking in, and I'm playing, like, I start to play that song, and I freeze in the middle of it. My bass player's just like, crap. I mean, we're going down, dude. There was silence, me trying to get back in. It was a struggle, like, when you see, like, someone, like, fall down and get up and fall down again, and then there's, like, it was big, man, and it was in front of the people I wanted to impress.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I'm failing.
Oh, no.
But they don't care. But I cared. I wanted to impress them.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And there was this other dude there that ran the record store in Austin, Texas. When I was on tour, he'd always be there. Waterloo Records. He was in the audience, and I was like, oh, you know, it was just, my ego got in the way, and I couldn't perform the song that I wrote that was too hard for me anyway. Yes! I said it. That was fun. I'm so glad I'm not there anymore. Yeah. That was 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
It was a lot. I thought I had that shit down. Songs will bite you.
Uh-huh.
They bite so hard, dude. All right.
You know, Taco will bite you too if you're not careful.
Taco will. Taco, the mascot, is just lovingly looking on outside the frame at one of his best friends right now.
Mm.
Yes.
Indeed. So, Danielle, you did all that, like from your 20s on. You've been steadily writing, performing, touring.
Mm-hmm.
Through all of that, what have you learned from, as far as songwriting goes, like that maybe you could share with our listening audience or viewing audience? Like, what have you learned over the years that, hey, I need to do that more. This is what really connects with people, or what do you want to tell our people, like, to be more, to give them encouragement, push them to do something different, or keep them on the same path, like, as they're exploring?
I just think everybody has a story to tell. I just really do. And who knows where that will lead, you know? Like, I think that we self-edit ourselves from the time we get up in the morning until we're, like, going down the road. Like, I do it in my car. I'm, like, looking around, like, you know, is anybody here that I know at the stoplight? Like, maybe I'll see somebody. Or self-editing, like, when I get up and I'm, like, trying to get my hair going, or, like, what do I wear? To a point where in my notebook it wrote down, breakfast, feed the cats, pick out an outfit. I obviously did not outfit. But what I would say is, let yourself have an experience. And don't edit yourself. Just please enjoy the fact that we are all made out of water and sound. And we're supposed to make joyful noises in the world and try. And, you know, I had a friend, she wanted to be a singer. She wasn't very good at singing, and she tried. And then she decided that she was going to be a bass player. And then, so she sang through the bass. So sometimes your art won't always be exactly how you want it to be. Like, sometimes you'll find that you're a different musician you thought you would be, or you have a different role to play in the musical development, or in helping people get inspiration. It's crazy. If you would have told me that I would speak at colleges about creativity, like you know, if you would have told me that before I did that, I would never have believed you, because I'm scattered. I'm all over the place. I can bring it together. But I just never thought that anyone would want to hear anything that I had to say about creativity at all. I mean, even doing this right now is still stressful. Like, I got a little stress sweat, is what it is. But I'm still putting it out there because, you know, there was a time when I didn't want to talk about it. Like, I didn't know how. I didn't think that was worthy of the conversation. But man, if I could tell anybody anything, it's just to have as many experiences as you would like, and try not to feel, you know, sometimes feeling a little bit of discomfort, it'll wake you up like a crispy air in the morning, and it's good to challenge yourself, and you need to be pushed a little bit.
Right.
And, you know, but, you know, I mean, I peaked at tennis after 2 weeks. I loved it, but that was my peak. But man, to the creatives out there who aren't sure if you're good or not, don't worry about that right now. Just make some stuff. You know, make some stuff. And to the people that are discouraged because they're awesome and they've gotten some crap runs, and I'm here to tell you, it's going to be awesome, and then it's going to suck. and it's going to be awesome, and it's going to suck, and it's going to be work, and it's going to suck, and you're going to resent the work, then you're going to love the work, and the gear, toting the gear, booking the gig, all the things that go along with it. It's going to be annoying. So just know that, because you can spend a lot of time procrastinating in your bed, like me, because I've done it, going, I don't want you load in there. It's 2 stories. It's gonna, if you can find a way to be happy in the suckage,
yeah,
then it's gonna be okay.
Exactly.
And ultimately,
well said.
the selection. Yeah, well said. I'm sitting with 2 veterans right now, and they know what I'm talking about. If you can find a way to get through that, and then, naturally the gravitational pull, you'll end up around musicians that are willing to be uncomfortable. They're willing to be a little bit hungry. They're willing to be like, oh yeah, well, I guess we all have to kick in for gas this time. And it'll work out. I know we went on a tangent there.
No, that's wonderful. That's what our people need to hear. They need to hear
Good.
They need to hear to put it out there. That's what you just said. So
yeah, it's not comfortable all the time.
Right. I loved how you said it's the roller coaster. It's good. It's gonna suck. It's good.
Yeah.
It's gonna suck. Right now, I'm at a good point.
Are you doing good?
I'm doing good right now.
Yay!
Because I was sucking there for a long time.
You had a suck time? Oh, man. Did it go on for years?
Oh, yeah.
See, that's the worst. It makes you want to lose hope. If there's years, there are periods. Oh my God, I lost myself in like fake careers. Like one time, I cooked in the restaurant industry a lot, and I found this one good job where it was cushy, and I was making money, and I got just trapped in it, and I was creating, and it was like, I was the chef in a small bistro. And I know I use the word chef loosely, but I did a good job. And man, I got to tell you, I lost myself. I didn't want to tour anymore. I was just like, Then I was like, this is bullshit. And Ani DeFranco called, and I was like, bye.
That's awesome.
I told him, I was like, man, this is going to happen.
Yeah.
And then they wouldn't hire me for a while. And then I went back. I saw the sign was in there again, and there was, word on the street. This place is hiring, So I went back in there, and he was like, oh, you were the girl that I didn't hire. And I was like, yeah, and I need a job. He goes, oh, I'll think about it. And then they called me, and that's how I got hired. And he said, are you still going to quit if something happens? And I was like, yep. I said, I will walk out the door. I said, I won't leave you in the lurch, but I will let you know that I'm going. And that's what happened. But they did hire me back, after the fact. So that's another stigma too. When you're a musician, like we're called late, like we're called squirrely, like we can't show up on time and be depended on. And I'm like, no, resist the power. And sometimes I used to get real triggered. Like if people go, especially like, family members, they were, cousins and stuff. They were just trying to tease me to be fun. They go, oh, here comes Danielle, 30 minutes late to Thanksgiving. And I was just like, It's like, I can't change the stereotype, or maybe I can, but it doesn't matter.
Right.
It's out there.
So, we've enjoyed talking with you. It's so much fun. Tell us about the song you're going to play for us today that we're going to play with.
Oh my gosh, this is a fun one. I'm excited to play with y'all, by the way. This is
Back
cool.
at you.
Well, I happen to be talking to one of our artists in town that you know. Her name is Jordan Igo, and we're talking on the phone. She's a real good friend of mine. And I said, well, I'm all right, Jordan. Don't get me wrong. She goes, hey, you better hang up and write that song right now. And I said, okay. And Jordan Igo, check her out. So,
Love Jordan.
She's a good person. And so I hung up, and I was actually writing the song. And then the next day I was writing the song again. And, Almdal's a small town, and sometimes people don't call before they come over because there's like 4 songwriters in the whole village that live there, and they're like circling each other like, and so in walks Alex Saunders. He comes to my house without texting first. And then, because he's a great writer, and I'm writing the song and I'm playing, and he's like, what are you working on? So this is my grumpy moment. I was like, I'm working on a song called I'm All Right, Don't Get Me Wrong. And he goes, well, play it. And I was like, and then he like inserted himself into the song because he is that person. You can't say no to Alex, but it's totally innocent. And he's like, well, this is wrong, and this verse, and over here. And then he goes, I don't like your first verse, and this is why. And I was like, okay. And so he's already writing it out, and I'm just like, I'm kind of stunned because he's just one of those dudes that like, it's good and it's bad. If something is messed up, that dude is going to come in and fix it. He's going to be like, oh my God, somebody's dog fell in the water. He's going to be like, and get the dog back, you know? But like, he got so excited about the song that he wanted to fix it. And so now I have a co-write. Because I forgot his lyrics sung better than mine. But I'm going to go back and find my lyrics. Because I still think there's merit there. But I just started singing his thing because I was like, what am I going to do? So Alex Saunders wrote 2 of the verse lines in the first verse that sounded better than what I wrote because I forgot my old stuff. So there you go. I was like, dude, that's one way to get in. But that's the thing. You know how it is when you have a small friend group. Everybody's influencing each other all the time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
I thought I was going to get that one on my own, but no.
Oh.
Now I really don't care anymore. Like, I've written a lot of songs on my own, but I wasn't ready to be busted in on by my neighborhood bro. Yeah, then we made sandwiches and played a bunch of YouTubes. Did you see this dude? No, did you see that girl? So it gets like that. You know, when you're done writing your own song, then you just start YouTubing other people's music. That's what happens. So I'm All Right, Don't Get Me Wrong was a song I was had some turmoil and strife about the lockdown situation and about figuring out ways to make sure that I could pay my bills and have income like everybody else.
Right.
No different than anybody else. But fortunately, I do believe that if things go to crap and you've got an acoustic guitar, you're going to be all right. So don't get me wrong.
That's wonderful.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta, you may not have $1 million, but you might get some tacos and some beer and a place to sleep.
That's wonderful.
That's great. I'm looking forward to playing on it with you and with
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, Danielle, we're glad you're here.
Thank you, Kevin. It's nice.
Thank you
Karen.
for being here.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do this.
That's right. Danielle Howle, everybody.
I'm alright, don't get me wrong. I'm right here, humming along. I'm gonna get me a little bit more, I'll give you some. I'm alright, don't get me wrong. Well, I can get my bits together better in half the time. And yeah, I know darn well we all die. In the middle of the conflict, I know this comes back before my final smile. 'Cause I'm alright, don't you get me wrong. I'm right here, humming along. I'm gonna get me a little bit more, I'll give you some. I'm alright, don't get me wrong. Well, I might be broke, but I'm rich in kindness. And yeah, spend my love each time. And in the middle of the giving, I know love comes back before my final smile. I can give you some. I'm alright, don't get me wrong. I'm alright, don't get me wrong. We did it. We did it.
That sounded good.
Thanks, friends.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was super fun.
MUFIC sets you free.